everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Expanse reaction video. So today I'm going to be watching, reviewing, and reacting to Season 3, Episode 3 of The Expanse. If you watched my previous Penny Dreadful reaction, you'll know that I'm going through a bit of a endometriosis flare, and it's been causing migraines to be coming on and slipping away slightly, you know, kind of back and forth continuously for days at a time. So I'm here in my bed spot with my heating pad and my snacks and my caffeine, and I'm not necessarily really all here brain-wise. Definitely still foggy. I had a migraine just this morning. It's coming and going, but I am here, and I'm excited to see what happens next in The Expanse, where we left off, you know, at a pretty huge moment, because we have Avasarala and Bobby just being saved by Holden and the crew of the Rossi, eternally the Rossi. And, you know, like I had said in the end of my last video, I anticipate a lot of conflict and uncertainty over what they're supposed to do next. Obviously, some of the people there are going to be very much pressing for going and trying to spread the information Avasarala has with the purpose of stopping this war. And then on the other hand, we're going to have other members of the group there that are very much focused on trying to find May, and probably either don't care about the war at all, or, you know, are in a Holden state of mind where they're like, yeah, you know, I do care and this is important, but I've made a promise and this is what we can focus on. So, and these are a lot of strong-willed people, so I'm very interested to see the dynamics between them and to see what happens and how this kind of conflict I'm anticipating will play out. So, let's get into it. Let's just jump right into episode 3. Here we go.
You charge my armor. Not until you tell us what's going on. I did a rotation on the Donager. The ship is detached units more mine than yours. Punch your panel all you like. You're locked out of our systems. You think I need my armor to take this ship?
It'd be interesting to find out.
Not for you.
Hold on. Whoa, okay?
Starting
Let's just
well.
remember, you called us, okay? I think saving your lives earned us an explanation.
A Martian Marine with the Deputy Secretary of Earth on Julie Mal's ship, with the UN trying to kill them. Start with that. I can't tell you it's classified.
Oh, come on, we crippled a UN gunship
I
to save
didn't
your
call you, I
hide.
called the MCR.
Can you just settle down now, darling, please?
Call me darling again and you'll be saying that drawl in sign language.
Sounds like things are going well. The Martians are bonding.
How is she?
Stable. She's got some neural damage, but nothing meds can't fix. A few more minutes and that burn might have killed her.
This one's not telling us why they're out here.
That's not our concern.
Of course it is.
We just dodged a massive bullet. Scopes are clear, no ship's tracking us. It's a goddamn miracle. Getting out of this thing like nothing happened.
Something did happen.
It's over and done. We're going to Io. Right?
That's right.
Here it is.
Io.
My daughter's there. We hope.
Madame Avasarala has information that could help stop this war. You can't just drag her
Then
to
take
Io in
your
the midst
ship
of it.
and leave. No one's keeping you here.
We target practice in that thing. It's defenseless. The comms are locked down.
We'll
There's no
fix
way
your
we're gonna...
comms. After that, we don't owe you anything.
This is playing out kind of exactly like I thought.
You can't just turn your back and pretend this war isn't happening.
If they don't use the ship, then you should take it and go. Go to Tycho. Do what you have to do.
Okay, I didn't see that coming. Like, I knew there was obviously conflict between them. Major conflict, and there, like I've said before, Holden's right to feel that he doesn't trust her now, but that was shit.
We have confirmed ID on the contact. It is a Martian stealth seeing ballistic.
Put it up.
Admiral Seller, any survivors of the dropship ought to be considered prisoners and taken to the brig immediately. No one is to speak to them until I get there. That's an order. Transmitting rendezvous coordinates. Z short.
Wynn's coming here in person.
Yeah, because Wynn is with Aaron, right?
Apparently.
Right?
If they were gonna blow us up, then they'd have...
Thing you did during the Eris incident. You're a hero.
No. Miller and Julie were the heroes.
Well, from the looks of Venus, Eris isn't finished with us yet.
Maybe now would be a good time for you to tell me why you're here. With a Martian Marine and your own government trying to kill you.
I was trying to bring Jules Pierre-Mao in from the cold. There are factions within the UN who are using the proto-molecule as an excuse to wage this war. I need you to take me to a safe port.
We're going to Io.
To find someone's daughter. Possibly, I heard. That's very noble. But I may have a way to end this conflict.
Have you been watching the news? Diplomacy's over.
I need to send a tight beam to Admiral Souther on the Agatha King.
Any tight beam would give away our position, and we already took that risk rescuing you. We're not doing it again.
Whatever happened to the man who risked certain death to stop Eris?
He stopped fighting battles he knew he couldn't win.
This isn't just about the war. We need to contain the proto-molecule. Make sure it doesn't fall into the wrong hands. You think that's funny?
Not at all. It's just that I've heard it before.
From who?
Everyone. Including me.
I met your mother. Alice. When everyone else said you were a terrorist, I went to find out for myself. Lovely woman. She thought I was full of shit too at first. She's well. Happy for you. Happy you're free. She told me when you were a boy you wanted to be a knight.
That's because I was a boy.
It's no accident you're in the midst of all this chaos.
I'm nobody's savior.
No one believes you, Holden. That's all you want to be. You're trying to be Praxton May's savior right now.
Now we want to get your story. Where's Officer Allen?
She's dead. Jules Pierre-Mao's goons executed her.
So she gets killed, but you still managed to escape. I find that hard to believe.
We barely got to the dropship. It's a miracle.
There's another ship docked to the Guanxi. A racing pinnace.
The Martian took it. Those Marines are badass, but of course you know that better than anyone.
I think your boss is still alive. I think she's defecting to Mars.
Well, maybe you should have called to ask her before you people blew up the Guanxi.
Are you implying that UNN forces destroyed a civilian yacht?
I'm not implying shit. It's a goddamn fact.
Pathetic. You're gonna be charged with treason too. Cooperate, and you might avoid a death sentence.
Talk to Aaron right. He's the traitor. He's been protecting Jules Pierre-Mao all along. He can tell you everything you want to know.
Nice try. Get some rest. You're gonna need your strength.
Yeah, but someone that needed to hear it is there. Southern's gonna figure it out. That's why he's the one that up.
Running off. I'm sorry, sir.
Oh. She's gonna make him think about
Do you work
Julie.
for Dr. Strickland?
That's interesting.
We work together.
Like Misko and Mariska?
I mean, I realize that things ain't how they used to be around here. And, when you're on the Razorback, I saw you were checking out Taco.
You wouldn't understand.
Well, you're wrong. I do. I get why you want to leave. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm still mad as hell that you gave that proto shit to Fred Johnson, but I can't help but respect your commitment to the belt. I wish I had your strength.
Impact of that message.
Sure you don't want some? I mean, the cheese ain't real, but the love that went into it is.
Okay.
Yeah?
surprised that Alex is the one that
I
finally
wanted
kind
to
of
personally thank you for
reached
having
out
us.
to
But
her.
more importantly,
I think she
to
really
cut out
needed
all
that.
the bullshit. I'll go first. UN Deputy Secretary Ehrenreich commissions Jules Pierre Mao like scientists. That, of course, a sample of the protomolecule itself.
We shoot the scientists and nuke the rest. Speaking for myself.
Based on your track record, I think you'd be inclined to give the whole lot to the belt.
They don't need it. Fred Johnson already has a sample.
How could you be so fucking stupid to give it to the OPA?
Don't tell me
He
about
didn't. I did.
I'd say cry me a river if I thought you could appreciate what one was. If good belters ever stood up and defied the OPA, instead of letting them speak for all of you, perhaps you'd deserve respect.
We're not the ones doing the killing now.
Shit.
Earth and Mars have the protomolecule. The belt has the right to it as well.
In that case, we should know Kyle. I told you we want the same thing.
He's been working with her. Nasrallah isn't dead, is she?
She got out there with the Martian Marine. I don't know what happened after that.
Can you prove any of this?
But Aaron Wright sent a message admitting everything, and Avasarala has it.
Status.
Impact in South America, tip of Amazonia. Closest city to ground zero is Guayas Mayor. Total population in the blast zone approximately 2 million.
What happened with the railguns?
It was a power cycling malfunction. From charging up and standing down earlier, sir. Watchtowers have detected no other launches. SATCOM believes we have eliminated the MCR's first strike capability.
So that's the end. I'm feeling a little mad right now. I knew he was gonna do that. I knew he was gonna do that. You know, I was saying just a few minutes ago, don't even try and turn this around and act as though they're responsible for all of those people dying because they wavered. I mean, you can make that argument that to a degree that the choice that he made to delay earlier is what directly led to that happening, because that caused the malfunction that ended up, you know, leading to them being able to get one missile off. That obviously, so there's direct consequence there. You can say that, and he isn't totally wrong in that assessment, but overall, you know, none of that needed to happen in the first place. There's no need for an actual war to be occurring. You, Aaron Wright, are personally responsible for this conflict. You ordered all of this to start happening again. You are ultimately responsible for all of this. None of those deaths needed to happen. They only happened because of you. So it's bullshit for him to turn around and, you know, I guess if it's just another insane, you know, political manipulation tactic where he's trying to, like, throw Anna into a sense of self-doubt so that she stops trying to, like, talk the Secretary General out of doing things that Aaron Wright wants him to do, and a manipulation tactic so that the Secretary General will be more likely to listen to him going forward. You know, I could see that happening. That makes sense. That all makes sense. But if he's legitimately in his head also justifying it in this way and saying, oh, it's not my fault, it's their fault, then that's bullshit. I just hope that he's at least self-aware enough to recognize that what he's saying there at the end is pretty much bullshit, and that he himself is personally responsible for all of this, for those deaths. They're on his head. I hope he's at least self-aware enough to recognize that. So, moving on from that situation, because it's making me mad. So, I thought that this was interesting. You know, a lot of the things that I expected to happen in terms of conflict on the ship over what are we going to do next, where are we going to go, are we going to, you know, go somewhere and try to specifically focus on spreading Avasarala's message and stopping the war, or are we just going to go straight to Io and continue with the search for May? You know, that those conflicts, you know, they came down the line, laid out pretty much exactly where I expected them to go. with, you know, one kind of interesting exception, and that's Naomi, because I would have thought that Naomi would have been strictly on the side of, you know, we've got to do what we can to try and stop the war if possible. That's the big goal. She already was kind of on the side of, you know, it's not, we want to save Prax's daughter, that's important, but there are other bigger issues at stake. So, you know, I expected that, but what I didn't anticipate and what made perfect sense and is awesome that they threw it in there and interesting is this hostility between Avasarala and Naomi. It makes perfect sense that there's hostility there. It makes perfect sense that they would not trust one another. You know, everything that they were saying at the end there, you know, Naomi's calling out Avasarala and being like, I don't believe you when you say that you just want to nuke this. You want Earth to be in power or have some safeguard above anything else, and so you're going to want a sample because you don't have one. If everything you're saying is true about Ehrenreich and Jules Pierre Mao and the conflicts that are happening between all of these people who actually have been in positions of power, then Earth doesn't technically have a sample. Jules Pierre Mao does, but he's not, you know, just on the side of Earth, apparently. He's on the side of himself and his own ego. So I think that Naomi has a very solid point there, and I think that it is interesting that kind of threw a wrench into what I would have seen as the two of them being on the same side over what to do next, because Naomi was not on the side of or on board with the idea of going to Io and searching for May first and foremost, but, you know, she doesn't trust Avasarala in any way, shape, or form. So I think that whole thing is very interesting how that played out. I think, like, everything with Alex there, that really made sense, and like I said, it doesn't surprise me that he's the one that's going to reach out to Naomi first with kind of like an olive branch, given that that's just kind of, sorry, there's a kitten yelling, but that's just kind of, you know, his personality, that's who he is. But on top of that, with the added kind of moment of getting that message from his wife, which, you know, like I said, I completely understand her point of view, why she said all those things. She's not wrong. And I think that he agrees that she wasn't wrong, and that, but that, you know, there's people do things for maybe the right reasons, or reasons that seem right to them, but those things have consequences for the people that care about them. And I think for Alex, you know, feeling in that moment that the consequences to the people that he does love and care about, but the real consequences of his own choices, which he thought were right to them, and then turning around and seeing Naomi, you know, she made a choice that she felt was right and had serious consequences for people that she loved, the crew of the Rossi. And so he can see kind of like a parallel there, it seems, so he's reaching out to her. And I thought that was good. It made a lot of sense for his character. I very much like that they're giving him more kind of personal stuff this season than they have previously. And like I said before, I also think that was definitely something that Naomi really needed to hear from somebody, to have some sort of like emotional understanding from one of these people that she loves, especially after Holden just being like, all right, well, you should just take the ship and leave. Just go. Holden. And then this whole episode, Holden going on about, you know, he's not a hero or a knight or a savior, while he's simultaneously doing whatever he can to try and be the hero savior to Prax and his daughter. It's just funny to me, but the way that Holden kind of goes back and forth on these things, or like doesn't necessarily realize what he's saying, how what he's saying and thinking doesn't align with how he acts at times. I don't know. But, like, and I also said, as I've continued to say, that his frustration toward Naomi, his lack of trust in her, his pushing her away in the aftermath of what she did, 100% all makes sense. But it always just seems like he always just goes one step too far, you know? Just he's in that moment, Naomi's trying to talk to him, trying to reason about what's the right thing to do next, what should we do, and she is already, like I said, having a conflict about it because she doesn't trust Avasarala, but she thinks that ending the war is necessary. And he's just like, you know what, you should just leave. Just go. He seems like he just always leaps a little bit 1 degree too far in his reactions to things. Oh, Holden. But, I mean, everything is converging in this particular direction, so they're still going to go to Io, but it also seems like, you know, that's where everything's playing out. So there's benefit to Avasarala to going there. We know that apparently the ship, the head flagship of the Jupiter fleet, is going there now too. So, which, you know, Wynn has connections with Ehrenreich. I'm wondering if he has connections specifically with Jules Pierre Mao, but whatever the reason, they're going there, they're going to be intercepting them, so that's all leading up to a conflict on site in that situation. I think it's interesting seeing what's happening on board there. You know, I'm happy that Katja survived, and he has played a pretty significant role here in getting the truth to Admiral Southern, who is someone who is not just kind of a stooge or a toady for Ehrenreich. And so you've got this conflict between him and Wynn going on, where neither one of them is directly saying what's happening, but they both are aware of what's going on. So that's building up. And then the other big interesting thing that I had mentioned was with Jules Pierre Mao. You know, he's seeing May. I think he's seeing, you know, thinking about Julie as he sees her. And, you know, thinking about how he sacrificed Julie. And then he's seeing what's happening to Katoa. And he's just, you know, it's all coming to a head where he's thinking, you know what? Maybe it would have been worth it to experiment on these children if it had led specifically to us being able to control the protomolecule and stopping whatever is potentially gonna happen with the remains of Eros on Venus and having this control over it. Maybe it would have been worth it. But now what I'm seeing is that we're not having success in controlling it. We're just damaging these innocent children. And even if we do have success to some degree, what is the outcome of that? It's not necessarily that, you know, right in the short term, it's not going to lead us to necessarily being able to control the protomolecule on Eros and stop what's happening on Venus, or really knowing how to handle it. It's just going to lead us to being able to have some control over this creature that we're creating, which is just going to be a weapon and maybe potentially going to be used to kill millions, if not billions, of people in a war. Is that why we're willing to sacrifice these kids? No, that's not right. So he's stepping up and he's saying, no, we're going to stop this. Which is very interesting to me that they're going that way with his character. I like that the turn that they're taking. I'm interested to see how it continues when we have everyone converging on this same place, and if there's going to be a conflict with the doctor there, because he is very much disappointed, it seems. He's fully on board and in support of the experimentation and doesn't want to just give it up. We'll see if he can sway Jules Pierre Mao back in the other direction, because, you know, I had thought in a previous episode that he was having a bit of crisis of conscience and then he was quickly swayed back, so we'll see. But I do think that one interesting thing about this episode is you see a lot of these characters with internal conflict, in conflict with themselves, between, you know, what their goals have been and when they're faced with the reality of the consequence of those goals, you know, they're uncertain and kind of on pause with it. So very interesting. So yeah, so a lot of stuff we're gonna see coming up in the next couple of episodes, I think, when everyone's coming to the same place on Io. So yeah, this has been a really exciting season so far. I'm really enjoying it. And if you think there's anything significant that I missed or didn't talk about, please do leave it in the comment section below. Or if you just have any questions or other comments, anything you want to talk about, again, please do continue the discussion. And I'm just going to wrap it up there for today. So I'll say thank you very much for joining me, and hopefully I will see you next time. Bye.